Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video. I'm your host, Jose Rocks, and today we have another episode of Journey Through VGC. The current format we are in is Regulation H. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Holy smokes, we are back with another one, and today I have one of my favorite teams that we're going to be showcasing in Regulation H in the early meta, and this is a very powerful Armarouge Hisuian Zoroark team, and this team literally is unbeatable. There's a couple things that you can do to beat this team, but it has to be very specific lines that your opponent also has to, have some type of history of playing against similar teams to like this. But this team is very strong, and if you want to climb the ladder really quickly or even get into Master Ball, then this is the team for you. So this team centers around Armarouge and Hisuian Zoroark. Armarouge is going to be your main sweeper, and Hisuian Zoroark is going to be your activator, but you also have, a lot of fun sets like Annihilape that can also sweep, as well as Torkoal, and an offensive Farigiraf set. So pretty much Armarouge, how you commonly see it is with Flash Fire and like on hard Trick Room teams, right? But this team actually wants to do the opposite. Even though it looks like a Trick Room team, it has a Trick Room option that you can play with, but it likes to play outside of Trick Room, and it's outspeed your opponent. And when your opponent sees this team, they're kind of conditioning into not wanting to bring their tailwind. So usually Armarouge and Zoroark are able to pretty much outspeed everything that your opponent's going to be putting out there, right? So the idea is that you want to lead Armarouge along with Zoroark in the lead position. And Zoroark's ability is really cool, which is Illusion, which makes it copy the last Pokemon that you pick that's going to come to your battle of 4. So not the third one, it's going to be the last one. So whatever you select in your 4th slot, be careful with that, because that's what Zoroark is going to copy. But the best strategy that I like to use that kind of lets your opponent's guard down, catch them off guard, is going to be leading Armarouge and Zoroark, and leading Indeedee in that 3rd slot, and then Farigiraf in the 4th slot. So what this does is it makes Zoroark disguise itself as a Farigiraf. And when Farigiraf's on the field, your opponent sees Armarouge or Farigiraf, they most likely think that you're going to either protect with Armarouge or like wide guard with Armarouge, and then try to set up Trick Room with Farigiraf. And when they see Farigiraf, they're usually not going to go for a fake out into this team, because you have the option of switching in Indeedee, or Farigiraf is right there on the field. So it disincentivizes them from wanting to go for like priority or any like fake outs, right? So that lets Zoroark be able to just move before Armarouge and activate the weakness policy. You want to Tera Armarouge into Psychic and then go for U-turn into your own slot. And now you're able to get in Indeedee in the next turn, and then just knock out your opponent with Expanding Force, or deal pretty big damage to where, Farigiraf and Zoroark can clean up the in-game, right? And Farigiraf and Zoroark are really good in-game cleanup mons. Farigiraf can help you set up like a late-game Trick Room so it can sweep with Hyper Voice, as well as Zoroark just being able to outspeed everything and click Hyper Beam and Hyper Voice into everything. And if you also have Bitter Malice, which is a signature attack, I chose to go with this over Shadow Ball because it's 5 base power less than Shadow Ball, but it does have the unique effect of lowering a physical attacker's attack stat, which can kind of come in handy if you're like using this team on a best of 3 ladder, because this team can function in best of 1 and best of 3. So the Armarouge is also carrying Aura Spear. Aura Spear makes it so that your opponent isn't safe having dark types, which are usually immune to Expanding Force, because Expanding Force, even if it's a Psychic type or a Steel type, it's still dealing huge amounts of damage to them, even when it's resisted, right? So you really have to blanket with dark types, and Aura Spear allows you to just hit those dark types for super effective damage, and with Helping Hand support, you pretty much remove any dark type in the game, right? Other than that, the other modes that you can go with is like an Indeedee Farigiraf mode, set up Trick Room and enable let Indeedee get knocked out. You can bring in your Annihilape, which will be faster than Farigiraf on the Trick Room, so that you can go for beat up into like Life Orb Rage Fist, which does so much damage, and also close combat under Trick Room does a massive amounts of damage. The Grass Terror on Annihilape is for the Amoonguss matchup, in case you have a situation where Amoonguss wants to redirect one of your fighting type attacks, or like Rage Powder from like Sinister, which I expect to be pretty common in this format. That gives you an option to be able to go for like those powerful close combats into things like Archaladon, and then just remove them from the field. And Life Orb close combat from Max Attack Annihilate one-shots Archaladon without a defensive boost, right? So it's really valuable that you have, something to redirect to get away from the Rage Powders, right? This team also can function like very strong under Trick Room, where you go for like the Indeedee Farigiraf lead, or you can even go with Armarouge if you feel like Armarouge is really not a threat, or you can go with like Zoroark and just U-turn out and get Torkoal in if you feel like Torkoal is relatively safe to come in. Set up Trick Room with Indeedee or Armarouge, and then Torkoal can kind of sweep your opponent with Fire, Tera, Eruption, right? And that's also just, you know, really good into things that a lot of mons make Tera into steel. And if you can't get your weakness policy off of Armarouge, it can kind of struggle against those steel types if it's not moving first. But under Trick Room, Torkoal just sweeps those, right? But mostly you're going to be sweeping with Armarouge. And like I said, Armarouge, with the amount of coverage that it has, like it covers everything, right? It's nothing that you can really switch into. The only issue that I saw with this team, maybe sometimes running into like a follow me user, like Mousehold, but a lot of the times when you lead Armarouge plus Zoroark and disguise it as Farigiraf, they're disincentivized to click and follow me because they're really not at threat of, you know, losing something. The other issue that I saw with this team that I solved, but I didn't actually play against this in like any of the I didn't play against this team comp in any of my practice games before I used this team, right? But when I got on the ladder, I saw a lot of Tyranitar. What you can do with Tyranitar, which they like to lead into this team, is with Armarouge, you can just disguise your Zoroark as Annihilape. So you lead Armarouge, Zoroark, and then Indeedee plus Annihilape, right? Make sure Annihilape's in your 4th slot, and what that does is when Zoroark disguises itself as Annihilape, Annihilape threatens like a close combat into Tyranitar, which can just one-shot them, right? Which forces them to want to Tera. And when they go for that terrestrialization, or they might even be afraid of like Final Gambit, when they go for that terrestrialization, that allows Armarouge to just click Expanded Force into it. And you'll see in like one of these videos where we just removed the Tyranitar because it was forced to Tera because it was under threat of being knocked out by Annihilape. So that's something, you know, really cool that you can go for, just to get around, you know, those Tyranitar leads. And Tyranitar, while it does seem like a counter to it, you also, if you just still want to go with the Farigiraf mode, you can just click Aura Spear into it. But keep in mind, if it's like max special defense Tyranitar with an assault vest and in the sand, it can survive a +2 Aura Spear with just a little bit of health, right? So just be careful of that if you do have that out. But if it's chipped in, then you're just going to pick up the KO. But you do have that as a way to get around it. But like I said, Tyranitar is not safe against this team. Dark types are not safe against this team. And any other mons that feel like they can outspeed this team and not bring their tailwind, then they just kind of lose to Armarouge and Zoroark. But that's going to be pretty much it for a breakdown. That's pretty much breaking down each team. The only other thing that I probably missed was that Farigiraf is carrying Throat Spray. That's just so it can be a sweeper and it's not relegated to just setting up Trick Room or enabling Annihilate, right? It can also do a lot of damage. And it's also like I've closed out some games where I just bring in Farigiraf, go for Trick Room, and then Farigiraf close the game out with Hyper Voice Throat Spray. So it's pretty cool, and I think that this is a really cool team. It's very powerful, and it's very hard for your opponent to come back from once they get turned wrong. And I think that anyone can climb a ladder with this. But there's a rental code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below. And if you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe for me and turn on those post notifications, since we are posting daily Pokemon content every single day. But that's going to be it for a breakdown. Let's get into these battles. Alright, so we have Mousehold and Annihilape here with the Pelipper and our Chaladon, Amoonguss, and Whimsicott. So this is just like 2/2 plus Whimsicott and Amoonguss. I wonder what can Zoroark do here to surprise my opponent. I kind of just want to go with the strategy. Like, if you don't lead Pelipper, then you may not even have White Guard on Pelipper. Let's just go with it. See, can we catch my opponent off guard? It does a lot of damage. This is actually perfect. You can't redirect. and I don't think you're one-shot on Armarouge. Alright, this is actually the perfect lead. He doesn't have any terrain control, right? So it doesn't matter who you target. Alright, so let's see how much damage we do. It'd be perfect if we just do over 50 to Archaladon and Whimsicott gets down to Sash. I mean, if we just one-shot Whimsicott, then it'd be good too here. Because you gotta expect, like, you're not gonna set up Tailwind here when I have potential Trick Room in front of you. Fastest Farigiraf you've ever seen. Oh, he switches Whim, so that means he's not going for Tailwind, but we're not playing towards Trick Room. That's a good switch though, because if Archaladon survives, I don't know if we take an Electro Shot. But this is going to be huge damage, and Whimsicott is really not that offensive. I could have went for Aura Spear here too. I wonder if he's just gonna go after the Farigiraf trying to stop Trick Room. Because if he does that, then he's in a really. If Armarouge gets another turn here, he's in a really bad spot because I don't never have to click Expanding Force. Like Aura Spear is still doing a lot of damage here. How much are we doing Archaladon? Pelipper's not Sash, this is one shot when I get spot you. Yep. So Whimsicott's not Sash. That's good to know though. Right. Who did you target with Electro Shot? This has been like the longest turn one ever because of all the animations and the weakness policy, the Psychic Seed, the Electro Shot, special attack boost. We did target correctly. Oh, we survived. Let's go. And we're just gonna cover for the wide guard here. the little bit of bulk I invested on Armarouge took the U-turn and the Electro Shot. That's good to know. Yep, there's wide guard. Yeah, this is a correct play though. Yeah, Armarouge just cooks here. And this is a good answer into Archaladon Pelipper that you can see. Once you get that boost up, like that Aura Spear is just doing so much damage. I'm just gonna click Expanding Force because I don't think he's gonna go for another white guard. He may, but I mean, what is Whimsicott doing? Moonblast not doing much to Indeedee. We got this Psychic Seed up. Psychic Seed is so huge for this Indeedee, just to be able to take a lot of special attacks and stick on the field. Like unless he has Dazzling Gleam, then we're in a good spot. But even if he does, he did go for another white guard. You had Dazzling Gleam on Whimsicott. This is light screen. All right, who's your final Mon? I don't think you brought Ape and Night. You just have a Mungus in the back. Like you have no offense if you put all your chips into the Archaladon basket. But it could be Annihilate. But I'm just gonna Armor Cannon here. We don't really need, just in case he switches in like a Mungus. And then just follow me. We can't do anything here. Yeah. I had a feeling he wasn't gonna quit wide guard this time. Indeedee takes that like a champ. And now Wide Guard pressure is gone. And Annihilape's not too scary because Annihilape can't ever touch Hisuian Zoroark. So as long as we KO Whimsicott, we're in a good spot. Yep. So the cool thing about this team is that it has a really good matchup into Archaladon and Pelipper, plus Annihilape and Mousehold. And the reason is this typing is normal and ghost. Annihilape can't hit you with a fighting move or a ghost move. You're immune to both, right? So we're in a really good spot here. I'm just gonna click Expanding Force, and I mean Annihilape can Tera to survive, but this will pretty much wrap the game up. We just need to get rid of Whimsicott, honestly. And if the rain wasn't up, I would just blast the Whimsicott here. It might have even been worth still blasting Whimsicott. My opponent is trying, but once the card goes down, he automatically loses the game. And we take more hits with Indeedee. Alright. How much is Light Screen reducing this by? Does it still KO1? Yep, and that's game over. We don't even lose a Mon here. Well, except we may lose Indeedee next turn. But Annihilape can't take another Expanding Force. He stays in. I guess he just wanted to at least get one knockout. But Armarouge is just going to clean up here. And this is just a clinic of this strategy. Perfect game to showcase it. Beautiful. That's game over. Yep. But like I said, once the card went down, even if we lost Armarouge there, it would have been fine because Annihilape just can't touch Hisuian Zoroark. And I think that's going to give Hisuian Zoroark a really good, place in this format. Because Annihilape is one of the best mons, right, outside of like Archaladon and Ursaluna. It's right up there with them, right? And the Mousehold Annihilape strategy is very hard to counter. But Hisuian Zoroark, they just can't touch it, period. And Mousehold can click beat up into Hisuian Zoroark, but that's about the only thing. But usually Mousehold's not even clicking that offensively. Cool team. So this is my first time seeing Staraptor, Bastiodon, or Mienshao in this format. I've seen a couple Quasqueval with Indeedee, but like Source Dance, Aqua Step stuff, and I've seen Politoed. But this is a cool team. He does have Mienshao that can be annoying. And Indeedee can be irritating on lead since he has Follow Me. I feel like Armarouge just cleans his team though. I think I want to go with the same thing. I don't really want to go against the Weather Wars and try to bring Torkoal here. Mienshao should never be led here. But if it does, it's fine. The worst thing to come out would be Indeedee since it has the redirection, right? Let's start rapping Indeedee. Are you Final Gambit? Psychic Seed. Okay. this thing be Final Gambit? Like, what else are you running on Staraptor, honestly? I think I kind of just want to scout. I think Hyper Voice, because if it's Final Gambit, we'll know from turn 1, and Hyper Voice is still doing pretty good damage here. It is Final Gambit. Okay, so if I would have just U-turned there, we would have been in a really bad spot. Right. But now my opponent kind of has to switch. I think I'm gonna use this opportunity to get Farigiraf in, since he's going for Shadow Balls into that slot. Actually, I can just Expanding Force. If you switch in, like you take, like something's taking a lot of damage. Like actually, I think I can just Expanding Force because Indeedee is just gonna activate my weakness policy. Yeah, so we just click Hyper Voice again. If you switch to Staraptor, then you're in a really bad spot. You just gotta get sacked here. Yeah, I had a feeling it was Final Gambit, man. I'm glad I played it that way. And this is just a cover for him switching anything in. But Indeedee doesn't have that much special attack. He's just going to give us our weakness policy here. Alright, so he doesn't need to do over 50%. We just don't have the speed boost, right? Wow, this team is amazing. Alright, there's Politoed. I want to get my Indeedee in here so I can redirect and then go for Expanding Force. Oh, I forgot 2020 Pokevision on that Staraptor play. We saw that coming. Could we get a 2020 Pokevision in the comments for that one? It just felt like Final Gambit, man. Because honestly, I don't know what other Staraptor set you're running. Alright, so he did. Oh! You ignore the Armarouge? How could you? Alright, so I'm Expanding Force here and follow me. Yeah, Politoed's damage output can be pretty strong, just like Pelipper's, with those Weather Balls, especially after a helping hand. It did over 50% to his Psychic Seed boosted Indeedee, so it's actually really strong. No switches. I think this is just a clinic right here. That Psychic Tera is beautiful on Armarouge. Do you have something like Muddy Water? Because that can be scary. But if it's just another Weather Ball, then I think the game is over right here. Oh, we're faster than Politoed. So this is just me covering for Politoed being faster than us. But I honestly could have just stayed in and clicked Hyper Voice again. And you see, like, Zoroark's damage output is really good. So it's a good mon. I think this is the best format for it. just do the honors. We just follow me. I mean, if you have Dark Tera, it's fine. We'll just beat you with what we have in the bag. Are you Dark Tera? Oh, that's water. So this game's a wrap. Probably just an Aqua Step with Moxie, but I mean, you can only target one mon at a time. This is pretty strong though. Water Tera boosted in the rain. The crit didn't matter there. I was always getting KO. Are you Moxie too? Like this thing can sweep. Like I don't see why more people don't try to use it in like rain teams. Are you Focus Sash on this slot? Oh nope. I don't think the crit mattered there. This is +2 Psychic Terror, Psychic Terrain boosted single target. That was always gonna KO. Nice, and we beat Vegeta. This Armarouge team is so strong, man. It's hard to like, unless you like really know what it's doing. Even in open team sheet, it's hard to like counter everything. And even though it's open team sheet, the Zoroark makes it hard to predict what you're gonna go for, right? So if this team still works in open team sheet, which is what I tested it in, you know it's gonna be strong in closed team sheet. Pelipper or Charlotte again, okay? But he doesn't have redirection, so he does have Scarlet though, and Incineroar. So he does have Psychic Terrain counterplay. I feel like Annihilape kind of punches a hole through my opponent's team. I want to bring Annihilape instead of Farigiraf. Yeah, because Annihilape just does well into Scarlet and Incineroar. And like I said, dark types, you can have them, but they don't necessarily 100% counter this team, especially once Indeedee gets on the field next to Armarouge, because we have Aura Spear. And it's like the perfect coverage move for this thing. Like they really blessed it by giving the Aura Spear instead of like having to focus on like Focus Blast. Alright, you have to fear Final Gambit here. Now, let's see if he has White Guard. It's kind of hard to counter Final Gambit. And with this, he can't tell if I'm Zoroark or just Annihilape, because Annihilape gets U-turn as well. The Final Gambit would absolutely ruin my opponent here, right? Oh, he didn't even try to stop Final Gambit. So he just willing to give up our Charlotte if I had it. But I'm pretty sure it's a Hurricane into the Annihilape slot. If he doubled the Armarouge slot, that's smart by him. But we brought Annihilape here, so we have the good mons this time. Like Zoroark plus Annihilape should be able to clean this game up. And if Pelipper's not Sash, you just go down here. But Pelipper's like 99% Sash in this format. It's so good having max speed Pelipper with the Sash. Good damage. Alright, did you target the Indeedee slot? Oh, you tailwinded. Okay. Fine by me. Alright, so we survived this in the first match. Did we survive it again? Oh, you targeted Indeedee though. Should be a White Guard here. Yep. It's almost like it's the same match again like the first one. But they just switched Pelipper in that time. But he does have Tailwind up this time, so That is pretty scary. So Indeedee may go down this turn. Indeedee, you're so clutch. Alright, our Chaladon is down. This Armarouge does such a good job at beating our Chaladon. I can't understand how good it is. And they always go for their wide guard. I mean, Zoroark's gonna outspeed Pelipper even with Tailwind up, right? I think we just need to get Incineroar out of here. He hasn't Tera yet. Would you be Ghost Tera on Incineroar? He turns into Tailwind on the left. I think I just want to KO Pelipper here. I'm expanding force again. Good play. But now I can stall out the last turn of Tailwind. Or protect. Wow, you really went for wide guard there when I have Aura Spear. I just showed you Aura Spear. Good play by my opponent. I really felt like he wasn't gonna go for Aura Spear. I mean wide guard there. Protector. I can't believe he didn't. My opponent had the conviction to not click he had the conviction to not click a Tera there and just click wide guard. That's kind of crazy after you just saw me go for Aura Spear and knock out your Chaladon, but sometimes you got to make crazy plays like that to stay in the game. Oh, he targeted that slot, so we get an Annihilape in for free. Alright, Tailwind's up, and we get to see my opponent's last one. It is Meowscarada. Alright, so I'm going to close combat that slot. Aura Spear and Incineroar. And then Choice Scarf Hyper Voice wins the game from that point. He still hasn't Tera yet though. Alright, so Armarouge finally goes down. But Incineroar, I mean, it's only going for a knockoff here. It's knocking off Life Orb, right? But you're not even focus sash on that. Oh, you're focus sash on the Pelipper, right? Yeah. So Hisuian Zoroark finally reveals itself next turn. But it has done all the work here. Just enabling Armarouge and K and Pelipper was huge. Let's look, that Incineroar has a lot of attack investment. Right. But he never Terra'd, right? So I'm safe to go for a Rage Fist here in case he tears into Ghost if he has it. And then Hyper Voice. Let's just seal the game. Nice. Let's go. This team is so good. Yeah, the only turn that I could have played differently was just go for Aura Spear immediately into Incineroar because he went for a second wide guard on Pelipper. Which is, like I said, that was a crazy play because I just showed you Aura Spear into your Chaladon. So Aura Spear just cleans up his team. You see he brought all the side spam counters with Guard, Pelipper, our Chaladon being steel typing, Incineroar and Meowscarada all being dark typing. And Aura Spear just completely flips that matchup on his head, right? And that's huge. But let's get into one final game. And outside of Meowscarada, his team just kind of falls to Armarouge, right? Torkoal also looks good here if Trick Room goes up. He can imprison Trick Room with Indeedee though, right? I want to play towards Torkoal. I don't think I can get Trick Room up with Indeedee on the field. I think I'm going to go for the strategy that he's not expecting. If he leaves Meowscarada though, that can be bad. I could U-turn Meowscarada and then protect Armarouge and then switch out into Indeedee. I can go that route. I really want to play with Torkoal, but I just don't think it's that easy, especially with Primarina. Alright, we'll go with this. A Decidueye with Scrappy can hit Zoroark, so we have to be careful about that with the fighting type attacks. So this thing is gonna outspeed us, and it probably has Dark Tera. I think I'm gonna just go for Armor Cannon. I'm gonna just go for the strategy, see what happens. Yeah. There's Dark Tera. I wonder if he's targeting Farigiraf here. You don't have to. Oh, he's grass. Oh, 2020 Pokevision. Let's see if we can get this off though, because he has Unburdened, so. But if you're Grass Tera, then you might not be carrying Throat Chop, so I think it's still okay. Because we just completely did. Oh, it's Rock Slide. Oh, can we not flinch? Oh, wait, I'm gonna outspeed. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna outspeed with Armarouge, though. Oh, it still worked. That's just unnecessary damage, though. It would have been better going after the Indeedee. You should be clicking Imprison here. Alright, so now we're even faster than the Sneasler the next turn. But if we get these Armor Cannon off, we're in a really good spot. Alright. I think Indeedee's going for Imprison here because you got to stop Trick Room. Nice. 2020 Pokevision. Let's go. That really wasn't a 2020 Pokevision though. I was just covering for like a Dark Tera. And I kind of didn't want to click Aura Spear into that slot in case he just didn't Tera. So Armor Cannon was the middle ground, but it ended up being super effective into him. So, if Indeedee went for Imprison here, we're in a really good spot. Yep, good spot. Expanded Force was the only scary thing there. Alright, so Scarlet is out. I kind of just want to break Meowscarada's. I mean, Expanding Force is going to KO Armarouge here. Actually, I want to protect here. Oh, I can't use Dazzling Gleam. I'm gonna just protect and follow me. I forgot he sealed us. Oh, he didn't even go for a Tera. Oh, Dazzling Gleam is not gonna KO from there. Yeah, the last turn was sketchy, but I forgot I was in prison, so I couldn't even go for Dazzling Gleam. But I kind of wanted to break the Meowscarada Sash. Yep, see, it has Sash. Single target Dazzling Gleam KO here. I'm really surprised he's not going for Expanding Force. Oh, he set up Trick Room. I mean, this just allows Farigiraf to thrive. I mean, Farigiraf kind of goes crazy. Oh, he sealed my Expanding Force. Cute. Right, I'm just gonna Armor Cannon this slot in Hyper Voice. Thank you for the Trick Room. If I had Torkoal here, this would be even worse for him. I mean, it's probably Primarina's his last one, right? Yeah, but Farigiraf is with Throw Spray here, so we're just gonna be able to sweep. I don't think that's KO. Nope. And then Armor Cannon just KO'd you. Beautiful. This was a really cool game. Indeedee was a unique way to kind of deal with it, like side spam. But I'm shocked he just didn't click Expanding Force there. Maybe he doesn't, because he thinks it's resisted. He probably thinks that Dazzling Gleam does more, but side spam, Expanding Force is still stab, and the terrain boost is gonna make it do more damage than Dazzling Gleam would do. It is Primarina. And so we just click Expanding Force here. So you pretty much gotta click Hyper Voice. And actually, I can protect and Trick Room. Like, you have to click Hyper Voice here. I don't think you KO in Farigiraf, so this is just safe. Yep. So even if you are Throw Spray 2, this shouldn't KO. Alright, nice. I used Life Orb. It did a little bit more than I thought it would, but it was because of the Life Orb. Alright, but now Zoroark comes out. Now we just click Expanding Force and Psychic. This is it, even without the terrain, it's still +2 Psychic Tera. Oh, and it's still just a one-hit KO. This Armarouge set is crazy. You guys gotta try this team. It is amazing. It is so hard to deal with. This team is so much fun, man. That was a beautiful win. Alright, but let's go ahead and get into a mid-range review. This team was so much fun. I cannot understate how powerful this team is. And like I said, it's a team that you can use in best of 3 or even best of 1 rank ladder. And it's because even though like your opponent can see that you have like the weakness policy strategy, it's so hard to predict what you're gonna do with the Zoroark. And it also has a Farigiraf beat up mode with Annihilape, right? Which is also a very strong mode. And this Annihilape with Life Orb at close combat just does so much damage that your opponent is really not expecting to be coming out of it, right? And then you also have the Trick Room mode, which is Torkoal, which is, you know, also a threat, and your opponent has to, they have to counter for it because they can try to answer like the Armarouge stuff, but if you just lead into the Trick Room mode of this team, they can just lose to that, right? So it's really hard to have like answers into both. And this team, while it can, you know, lose to specific like a team like full of like, you know, rain, Pelipper rain teams, it just does. You think that it will lose to those teams, right? And this team just blows them out the water, right? When I've been playing with this team, I haven't found any pure counters that just beat this team. Because like I said, the closest thing to beat it is the Armarouge Pelipper teams. And this Armarouge, once it just gets expanded force off, the Aura Spear just allows it to beat our Chaladon. And with the redirection from Indeedee, like you're just safe from the Pelipper. So that doesn't even beat it. The Annihilate Mousehold really does really bad into Zoroark, so you just beat it. And they can't take the side spam double up. Even if they redirect, you know, your U-turn into it, like Armarouge with Expanding Force and Psychic Tera is still doing a lot of damage, right? And it's just very hard to stop this team, and it's really fun in my opinion. And I do think that it's a team that can, you know, become #1 on the rank ladder, whether it's me doing it or whether it's someone else that, you know, play with this team doing it. But it just really has a lot of answers into the current format. But I give this team a 10 out of 10. Like I said, there's a rental code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below. And if you guys can think of anything that that you're struggling with if you're using this team, leave a comment below so I can give you some answers on how to, you know, have some counterplay into that, just so you can, you know, improve this team. But I do think this team is very solid, and even though, you know, the Armarouge weak armor policy used to be kind of gimmicky, I think it's a legit strategy in this format. Just think of like Mousehold beat up, right? That might seem like kind of gimmicky because you're beating up Annihilape, or even Whimsicott plus Terrakion, right? It's that kind of strategy where your opponent has to have answers to it, and they kind of know what it does, right? But even though they know what it does, they can't really stop it unless they, you know, bring specific answers. But then you have to cover for the rest of the team. So, but that's gonna be it for this video. If you like this type of content, leave a like for me, turn on those post notifications, subscribe, and leave a comment below. But that'll be it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, deuces.